Summoner's War has turned 8, and I like to do this thing where I mirror the number of age and the number of numbers in a list. So with that said, it's the top 8 monsters of 2022. Disclaimer, just remember, this is my list. Get your own. And I don't mean that as harsh as it sounds. What I mean to say is that if you want to share your top 8, please put it in a comment down below and we can see if our lists align. It'll be like a fun game. Also, I like to separate by game modes, but after a certain point, we'll just go by feel. Okay, with that said, number 8, Windy, Tractor, and Lulu. It's a whole team for Guild Siege. It's my show, I can do what I want. Tractor, Windy, Lulu have dominated Guild Siege for so long, I can't remember the last time that we did a Guild Siege post-season interview where they didn't come up. So naturally, I think they deserve a spot on the list. All 3 of them, not just one, it's the whole team. Number 7, Saf. Nobody's gonna be running a dot team without Saf. Love him to pieces, just did a how to ruin on him, and he came up in a bunch of the recent 20 tips for new players, and for good reason. What an incredible second awakening. This is exactly the kind of flexibility and fun that I like to see in 2As. The advent of Saf brought with it some hyper efficient teams for Giants B12, you can kind of use them in Dragons B12, though admittedly with a little bit more variance, and you can even use those teams in TOA. So of course he deserves a spot on the list, because people are still using them this year. Similarly, no one's gonna be running ICARU without ICARU in triplicate. It's just not gonna happen. He's fun, the team is a dope project to work on, and you can test out different monsters in that 4th, sometimes 5th slot. Even though the Trickaroo team didn't release in 2022, it is still so prevalent that he deserves a spot on the list. Number 5. Wow, this is definitely a biased slot. Number 5 is Galleon. A lot of attention goes to the cleavers, to the cockies of the world. Sometimes it's good to go back to basics and give some reverence to the people who facilitate the cleaves. So for that, Galleon gets a spot on the list. Thank you for all you do, you non-hitting, defense-breaking son of a gun. Number 4, God, I wish this was Carlos. But I can't in good conscience give it to his brother when Dominic was really the guy who shined brightest this year. He contributes huge damage even on a glance. You'd love to see him set up for a reckless or just knock out a monster on his own in turn 1. I never get tired of it. This has basically been his year. Is there anything else that I want to say about Dominic that hasn't been said? No, let's just move on. Bruh. It turns out having immunity every turn and basically becoming a hybrid of your light sister and a chroma is a pretty solid thing. It's not as clean of a combination as I just made it out to be, but I think it was cute. Masha is number 3 on our list. Masha has found herself amongst the heavy hitters this year in RTA. Her recent change to make it so that she applies immunity on herself every time she attacks means that you can take her into more situations, and she's become a counter to some of the most popular units in RTA right now. So it's only natural that she should be here. Number 2, SHIZUKA. This is the year where people realize that you can just pick SHIZUKA. Even if her 3rd skill only applies immunity to your whole team and puts a defense break or a stun on the enemy team, then it's perfect to have her in your comp. If you get more, amazing. But now that her 2nd skill reduces cooldown times, it's impossible to get away from her. I mean, holy SHIZUKA. How many times do you think I can get away with this before I get fired? Before we talk about the last one on the list, let's go through a few honorable mentions. The first honorable mention is Oliver. He would be on the list, but I imagine you're a little tired of hearing about Oliver at this point. Carlos, you're lit as heck, but you just got here a little too late. You just barely missed consideration. Hey, there's always 2023. Miles does huge damage even on a glance, and he's weirdly easy to ruin. And the last honorable mention for today is Abellio. Abellio has gotten a ton of attention as of late, and he's found a new calling in RTA and Arena. Number 1 is GURKHA. What a buff. GURKHA has suddenly become super relevant, and he's become a must answer in the pick ban phase. Turns out adding 1 more turn of provoke is just, it's really good. There you go, those are the top 8 monsters of 2022. Let me know what your list is down in the comment section, and I'd love to see how much we align.